Thank you.
We must be always positive in our attitude as well.
Right.
So thank you once again.
Good morning, sir. Shanmuganathan, sir.
Hello, good morning. Oh, good evening. Right.
Kavya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, yes. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes. Sir, shall we start?
Sir, shall we start?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Principal, sir, shall we start?
Oh, okay, sure.
Sir, shall we start? So, Principal, sir, shall we start the session?
Yeah, you can start now. Start.
Okay. Kavya,
Yes.
Kavya,
Yes.
yeah, you can start.
Thank you, ma'am. Om Shri Manjunataya Namaha. Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. Pleasant evening to one and all. This is Kavya Aris, Student Council President, your host for the evening. We all have gathered here for the international webinar on the topic Robotic Process Automation, organized by Department of Computer Science in association with IQAC. For this virtual session, we have Mr. Shanmuganathan S., Scrum Master, All State Canada Group, Toronto, Canada, as our resource person. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Our session is presided by Professor Sainath Malligemadu, Principal, MMK and SDM MMV Mysuru. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Kavya. Thank you.
Before the commencement of the seminar, let's give warm greetings to all. I request Srimati K.S. Sukrutta, Head of the Department, Computer Science, to welcome the gathering. Please, ma'am.
Om Shri Manjunataya Namaha. Good evening to one and all present here. As human embrace new forms of social media to keep connected with friends, relatives, and colleagues, our robots are becoming increasingly sociable. Quote by Ken Goldberg. With this quote, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this international webinar. As we are in the digital era, the resonating concept of robotics and its application is playing a vital role in the development of technology and its impact on society. Keeping this in mind, we have made an effort to organize this webinar for the benefit of academicians, research scholars, software professionals, and students as well. On this occasion, first and foremost, I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Professor Sainath Malligemadu, for his incredible support and guidance in organizing this event. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I would like to welcome our today's resource person, Mr. Shanmuganathan S., Scrum Master, All State Canada Group, Toronto, Canada, who has accepted our invitation in spite of his busy schedule to deliver a session on robotic process automation in today's virtual session. A genial welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
A hearty welcome to Srimati G.R. Sumitra, HOD of Electronics and IQAC Coordinator of our college, who is the inspiration to conduct such type of activities in the college. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sukrita.
On behalf of management of our college, with wholehearted spirit, I cordially welcome all the participants to this webinar. I also welcome all my fellow colleagues to this webinar who have helped me in organizing this program. Now, I would like to welcome all the onboarded students who are the young moving techies of our future. Once again, I welcome you all to this session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. And a hearty welcome to you as well, ma'am.
Thank you, Kavya.
Welcome to the session, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, I request Srimati Ramya S.K., Assistant Professor of Computer Science, to give briefings about our distinguished resource person, Mr. Shanmuganathan, and introduce him to the audience. Please, ma'am.
Good evening, one and all. It's my immense privilege to introduce our today's resource person, Mr. Shanmunathan S., who has accepted our invitation to be a part of this program. To begin with, Sir completed his matriculation at Shivakashi Lions Matriculation Higher Secondary School, Shivakashi, in the year 1999, then pursued BSc in Computer Science and Information Technology at IR Nadar Janaki Ammal College, Shivakashi during 1999 to 2002. Later, Sir completed his master's in computer science from University of Mysore during 2002 to 2004. Sir is having 16 years of experience in IT field. From 2005 to 2009, Sir worked as Senior Software Engineer at Aspire Systems, Chennai. From 2009 to 2021, Sir served as Project Manager at Cognizant Technology Solutions, USA and Canada. Mr. Shanmuganathan is a certified Scrum Master from Scrum Alliance Organization and presently working as Scrum Master at Allstate Canada Group, Toronto, Canada. With this introduction, I will once again welcome you, sir, on behalf of our management and college. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, I request our beloved principal, Professor Sainath Malligamadu, to give the presidential address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Kavya. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Distinguished resource person Shanmuganathan S., Toronto, Canada. My learned colleagues, IQAC coordinator Srimati Sumitra GR, HOD of the Computer Science Department, Madam Sukruta KS, other colleagues and students and other participants, those who have joined the this particular program as such. Of course, good evening. I think Shanmuganathan will be saying a good morning, I suppose.
Right, sir.
Yes, in that way, good morning to resource person and good evening to all my dear fellow participants here in India. Robotic process automation, a topic being selected by our computer science department to organize such a things. They have taken a decision. See, these days we are saying already we are having a problem of unemployment. And when we are talking about robot and software robot doing a repetitive and lower value work like logging into applications and systems, moving files, folders, like that. And advanced robots can also even perform cognitive process like interpreting text, engaging in chats, conversation, and other things. So these all things will ultimately take away the work of the human being. But we cannot deny, we cannot totally reject the developments which has been taking place in the world over, whether it is in technology or any fields of knowledge which we say we cannot keep it away. Because even now people are registering to go to Mars and make a trip and come back. In such a situation, so the technology like robotic process automation will definitely help the technological development in a much higher and possible way as such. It can help many different types of industry addressing their specific operational issues and other things. So these types of things are very much necessarily to be understood by everyone, especially the students community of the college and even others. In that regard, we have taken up this particular project of making, and rightly we got a person who is working on that particular area only, robotic process automation only. So that person kindly agreed to our request, and he is here. I am, of course, principal of the college, need not be knowing everything because my subject is totally different from that of the computer science. So I am also very eager to listen to him and understand the type of things. But the problems which is being brought about by the technological development and other things as a the science like social sciences like political science and other things in which I understand, but at the same time I do agree, I don't disagree with any type of the development. So I want to understand the robotic process of automation and in what way the socio economic way it will be have its own positive and negative process as such on this. So I am very much eager to listen to him. That is why I am not saying much more things about robotic process automation. I'm eager to listen to him. I take this opportunity to thank my department head and her team taking these types of initiative and making students to know various new aspects and because of the corona brought another positive side of it. Those who are in Canada also can come to India now as we think, and they are in front of us only we can feel and we can understand the things from them. So corona brought a positive thing, the same technology given that particular opportunity for us. So that is why technology should be developed in a future level as well. So I thank Srimati Sukruta and her team members for having opting such a wonderful topic for today's things, and I thank Shanmuganathan also for accepting our invitation, and I wish him very all the best. At the same time, I make a prayer to Lord Manjunatha Swami and Pujya Hegdeji to bless him and all of us. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for always bringing up such an insightful programs, and thank you for always supporting us in all our deeds and glories. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Now it's time to hear from our resource person. I request all the participants to kindly mute yourself so that it will not disturb the session. Sir, I request you to take over the session. Please, sir.
Thanks, Kavya. So before I start, I really want to thank the principal, the HOD madam, and our uh, person, Professor Ramya, for supporting me and giving me the opportunity to have a knowledge sharing session, which I am right now in. So as our principal said, being advanced in all ways right now. We have an opportunity to share directly from Canada. You don't need to be there always for a meeting. So yeah, we have to take both the positive and negative things from technology, and we have to grow together. So as our principal said, technology has grown so fast. Right now, robots can do most of what the current uh, person can do. So it's an evolution right now we are in, where we first started when a computer replaced many of our office job. Then now we are in a place where computer can even replace the entire work where a person was supposed to do. So with that being said, let's go to the session. So let me share my screen. Just a second. I hope you are able to see my screen right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, we can see.
Okay. So before we go further in, let's try to understand what is RPA. So RPA, it stands for Robotic Process Automation. And it's a form of business process automation. So it's not an actual robot which performs everything. Like it cannot move. It is just a software robot which resides on your computer, and it performs a user action, and whatever a particular person can do with a computer, that's what this particular RPA can do. And right now there is also second part to it, where it can also interact directly with your application as well, instead of doing just the user actions. So what this helps right now is it enables organization to transfer repetitive admin work. Like for example, in our organizations, we used to have a set of support team members where they just check if there is any request. For example, my password got locked, or you need to reset some activity, or during an onboarding process, you will have a certain list of checklist. So there is an admin team always working on that set of activities. So when a new person comes in, then they would need an ID. So there will be a request to a different team. They have to email, and then they would have to onboard, and they have to give a computer to him. And for that, they would need to image computer, and then give
ಪ್ರಗತಿ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್
an
ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ?
username to him. So all those setup right now, you can make that as a flow in the RPA process, and then you can train it such a way that you'll just provide certain inputs. Automatically, it will be able to do all those repetitive job that a person does right now. And yeah. So how does the RPA tool works? So there are two ways the RPA tool works right now. So one, it can directly interact with your application APIs. So you would know right now that there are application interfaces. So you would have a backend application and a database where it can directly go and contact them and get their required information and can move on. But at the same time, if you want to automate what the user does on everyday basis, so you don't need to. So there are a few applications you would not have complete access to. For example, if you want to go and get a list of was it TVs which is available in Flipkart. So right now you don't have access to their database. You cannot go and call their API. Rather, this RPA tool gives you an opportunity to browse the application using a web browser, and it can directly take all the data from there and then give it to you. So you don't need to click each page, copy each text and move on. So that's a different way of doing it. So there's one more option where, so this one is called web scraping, and then there is another thing called UI automation, where uh, the older legacy applications. So there are right now in the market, if you see, many people are using older applications, which may be existing for past 20 years or so, and then there is no way that you would have an API to it, because those are recently available in the last 10 or 12 years only. And you would not have an option to connect to the database directly. So for those situations, there is something called UI automation, where the robot can automatically click your screen, and it can perform whatever you are doing. So it can open up the application, it can copy the text from one location, and it can paste onto that particular application and can move on. So these are the various ways that the RPA tools can integrate with your apps right now. So now let's go on further and try to understand how this gets implemented, and what are the various phases in the RPA process. So the phases, what I would be covering right now would be the development cycle. How does it start, and how does it get onboarded, and then how it goes on to the implementation process. So first, in this cycle, the main action or activity that happens is identifying what process to automate. So, first, what we try to do, we try to discuss with the business and try to see which are the process which is like uh, consuming more manpower, or which are the process which takes a lot of knowledge transfer. So, for example, those 20-year-old application, no particular individual wants to do it right now. So, all the people who are having good understanding of new technologies and tools, they want to work on challenging stuff. They don't want to work on the old legacy applications, feed data to it. It's like waste of human power right now because of a lot of changes. So we try to identify those kind of areas, and then we try to find a process that would be ready for the discovery phase. So once that process is identified, we go to the discovery, where we discuss with the like the architects or the key person in the team. They will try to discuss with the business team or the users and try to identify what are the steps that they do every day in and day out, and we try to assess the complexity. There are few steps which may have to stay the way it is. If you automate it, it may take more time than just having, say, instead of completely automating 10 steps, you just need one step manual intervention. If you are going to automate that, maybe it may take months. So to avoid that, we will just try to assess, okay, step one can be automated, step two, no, it's better for a person to be available for just filling in the gap, and then we'll automate the rest of the things. So that's the discovery that we do. And then once we have all the steps, we discuss with the business and get approval for the next step. So the next step is actually defining what each step is and what is the future step, so that it can be understood by a developer, and it can be implemented. So this step we call it as like the design phase of it, and we create a document called process definition document, PDD. And here, what we do, we try to find out what is the current process. So, as this process that we are talking about, we try to get each step by step activity. So, the first step, if he's trying to open an application, then he tries to open an Excel file which is in a certain location, then copying certain data from an Excel file, moving to that application. So all those steps in detail would have to be documented. So this is to ensure that all the actions that a particular person is doing is captured, and then the next step is the to be process. So to be process is what was the current and what will be the future. So in the future, we will, as I said, it will contain in detail step like an algorithm flow. You'll say, okay, start this, start the application, start an Excel file, and all those things. Then, in between, if there is a human intervention, you will say, okay, and mail will be sent. Then we are have to wait for the confirmation. Once the person clicks confirm, then proceed to the next step. So all those to be process as well will be documented, and then we will also try to say what is in scope, what is out of scope, and how to handle exceptions. So exceptions are scenarios where a robot cannot handle. Sometimes there are situations where you would be expecting a file, and if it's not available, then that will be an exception scenario. Okay, I was expecting a file in an email, but I didn't have it. So what should I do? It'll just send an email. That's an exception scenario. Okay, so this is the design phase, and next is the development phase. So the development phase, here, based on our need, we'll try to assess the tool that we have to use. So as I told before, there are various kind of automation that you can do. So you will have UI based automation, you can have browser based automation, or you can have the backend direct interaction based automation. So for these things, there are various tools available right now. You would be able to choose the best tool that fits you, and then you can automate it. So that's this particular stage where we decide, and then we do the implementation, and finally testing and moving on to the prod deploys. So it's always advised for a testing team to do the entire end to end, because usually this gets executed in agile mode, and in agile mode multiple people can work on each part of it. So if I, being a developer, if I wanted to do the first, only the first set, and another developer has done the second set, I would have validated just my part of it, and I would not have got an opportunity to test end to end. So from step one till the last step, what we do, we have an integration environment where everything gets deployed, and then the end QA will have an opportunity to validate the end-to-end. Excuse me. Yeah. Um, okay. So that being said, I just want to give you a high-level picture of how the agile development works. So these days, many people you would have heard, they are communicating that they are working in agile way of implementing. So agile is nothing but implementing every activity in smaller chunks. So usually agile way of implementing, you would be able to identify a problem upfront rather than in waterfall model. You will have to wait till the complete end to end is done. So in agile, you will have an opportunity to just verify step one in just 2 weeks, and step two in another 2 weeks. So if at any time, if the business user finds that, hey, this is not what I want, they will be able to tell you just in 2 to 4 weeks, or in a matter of very limited time, rather in a actual project which was done in like a waterfall model, it may take months. So once you have the end to end, that's when you go to the business and say, hey, I have done this. So that time the business says, no, this is not what I want. So you would have waited for 6 months, and most of your budget and everything would have been lost by that time. So that would not happen in agile, because it's very interactive. Every day in and day out, you get an opportunity to talk with a business user, and the business user can very well at any time see a demo of the smaller chunks that you are doing, and they would be able to give you a feedback then and there. So that's the agile way of doing. And in here, if you see, so the current manual process, what we do, we try to automate, like shortlist the process that you would like to automate. So as I said, in the phase where we try to discover, right? So we try to create smaller user stories. So user stories are nothing but a smaller piece of task that an individual can do in a span of 2 weeks. So we try to split that into smaller chunks, and then once that is done, the architect and the developers say, they sit together, they try to define a process design document, and then they go to the development mode. So the development, as I said, these stories or the smaller tasks, they would be doing in 2 weeks of time, and every day they have to report the status in a meeting called daily stand up or daily scrum, where they say, okay, this is what I have done, this is what I would do, and what has been my problem for yesterday or challenges. If I need any support, they would be communicating, and that's where people like me, scrum master or the technical leads, would come. and try to explain that, okay, this is what you can do, or we try to get support for them. So this happens, as I said, in 2 weeks. We would be doing the implementation, and once after 2 weeks, we try to demo it. So demo is where we say that, okay, this is what we have done to the business user, and business user says, hey, okay, wow, so this is what I asked for. And sometimes in agile mode, if you are having a bigger project like a year project, uh, the business user will get an opportunity to still use the application in a matter of 3 months. Maybe it will not be end to end, but at least instead of the 10 steps that I told initially, right? So from start till the end, they may have step one, step two, and then step five, whichever are the key places that we can implement. We'll try to implement, and we will have a manual step in between wherever it's needed. So that's the benefit of having an agile. Rather, if you go in a waterfall model, you have to wait for the entire 10 months, and then they would not have an opportunity to validate each of the process at any given time. So that's the agile way of implementing. And these days, mostly like 90 to 80 to 90% of these kind of projects that I'm talking about are in agile mode these days. Okay, so let me move on to demo. So in demo today, I just wanted to share three different things. One being how we evaluate stuff, like what are the phases, or where are the places that we can do this RPA implementation, and whichever will give more value to the business user. And then I will also be sharing about how a web scraping is done. So web scraping is nothing but in a web application. I was talking about, right? So I just want a list of TV which is available in Flipkart. So how easy it is to capture information from there. And then I'll also be discussing about a flow where it will involve AI opportunity. So for example, the demo that I would be sharing today, when you upload a receipt, for example, if you are a person who tracks your daily uh, spending that you have, so what you can do is, right now, what you would be doing, you would be uh, keeping hold of the receipt on every day, and then you'll be at the end of the day, you'll be capturing them in an Excel file, so that you can do further analysis towards the end of the month, saying that, okay, this is what my expense was, and where was the expenses that I had. So that process I'm trying to automate here, and show you how easy it is to implement. Okay, so let me go on. Let me share. Just 1 second. I have to stop sharing to share the other windows. 1 second. Okay. So this is okay. So before going there, I just wanted to show you something. So what I'm going to first share is the Power Automate. Power Automate is the software as a service which Microsoft provides as an RPA tool. So what this one does, if you have Office 365 in your organization, so it is available by default. These days, most of the organizations, they either have Google or Microsoft. But if at all you have your own personal subscription to Office 365, you would be able to find this particular tool as part of your Office suite, and it should be available in here. So you'd be able to search it, and then you can use it. So there are two type of UI that you have. One is the web interface that you are seeing right now, and here you would have various options to see here. So the main thing that is available here is the connectors. So connectors, what we say in here is the interface between your Power Automate and towards the outside world. So it can be any connector. So these are default Office 365 connectors that you have. It can connect to your Outlook, Office Outlook. It can connect to your OneDrive. OneDrive is similar to Google Drive. It can connect to Twitter, and I think various social media APIs also you can do connect from here. And you would be able to connect your SQL database, your Outlook calendar, your Google, everything, and you can create your own custom connector for your applications from here. So it can be anything. As of before 3 months, I know that there were like 300 odd connectors. So it is so evolving that it is getting exponentially grown right now. So it's very powerful tool, and these are just the connectors that we have at this point. Okay, and then you also have something called AI Builder. So AI Builder, okay, maybe I'll come back to that later. So as per my slide, I'll go in the process. So first, how do we identify that? Okay, this is the process I need to automate, right? So for that, they do offer something called Power Automate Desktop, where you can record each step a particular person does. So all the actions that a user does on day-to-day basis, we would be able to capture them, record them through that tool. Okay, so there is a recording option available. You just need to download it. So when you click this, it'll say over here. So as I already have my Power Automate desktop, so it's not prompting me that, but you would be able to automate those. Sorry, when you have that, you'll be able to record it by yourself. Okay, so for time constraint, I'm not going to do the recording right now because it takes some time for me to record and then do the analysis and show you. So I have created a process already. So this process, what I did, I tried opening um, an web application or a web browser where a user would go in and type Flipkart, try to get the information from there, and then put it into an Excel. So it's a small process. So similarly, in real world, what we would be doing, we will have various steps in an application. So first, I would be waiting for an email from a user. Then based on that, I would be getting a receipt, downloading it, and then attaching it to a SharePoint. Then there was in our scenario, we had an invoice coming in. We used to read the invoice, take an amount, and then there will be wire instructions. So for that, we had to open a legacy application in our desktop, and then once that wire instructions are available, it will be sent to approval. Then once after approval, we would have to wait for the backend team to prepare the check. Then uh, we initiate the final payment. So similarly, I have captured some activities for taking the value from browser, and these are the various activities. So once you record it, it automatically finds out what are the various steps that you have been doing here. Okay, so all those steps right now, you just need to name it. There is an option here saying that add activity. So first, it will just list you all the steps. It will not be activity based. So if you want to say, okay, this is related to opening an Excel activity. So this is related to copy to Excel activity, and this is another copying to Excel activity. So I'll just list them based on what I am doing and what is needed. Okay, and then what I do, let me go to that. Okay, so then I click the analyze. So here is the analyze, and whatever the process that you have captured here, which are ready to analyze, will be automatically reviewed by the process, and you'll have a report something like this. So the report will tell you what are the activities that you are doing. So you started the process, you took a browser, and it has been taking 11 seconds for the overall activity. Then it tells you what activity you are doing. So after you open the browser, you are searching for a particular condition. So that has taken 35 seconds, and you opened an Excel and you copied the data to Excel, and out of which it tries to tell you what is the various time consuming activities. So for this particular product search, uh, you have spent 35 seconds, so that is the maximum. But in here, if you see, there are few activities which is marked with blue symbol, so that refers to automation required places. Okay, so these are the places it has automatically identified that there is a lot of scope that you can improve by automating stuff. Okay, so these are automation recommended places, and that way first we try to identify, okay, this is where I need to automate, this is the place where there is a lot of time spent by an user, and then we go to the next step of deciding what tool to use. So that's the first step. So let me find out what was the other one. Okay, so let me share a process where I do a web scraping. Okay, so this particular tool is UiPath. I know you would have heard about it. So they share the major share, or they are the major shareholders right now with respect to the RPA industry right now. It is right now available as a free for everyone. So anyone, if you want to download and try on your own, you would be able to download the community studio, and then you can do on all the validations on your own, or you can do all the RPA study by your own. So there are a lot of materials available. So once you go to the home screen, you would be like when you open that UiPath, you would be prompted with all the study materials, and they also offer free certifications for developers as well. Yeah, this is one good tool where let me first show you, then let's see what are the things that we can do. Okay, so first, before I start, let me delete some of the Excel which it got created. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I have to stop again and reshare 1 minute. Yeah, it's better to share the entire video, entire screen. Okay. So I hope you are seeing it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to browse through Flipkart, and I'm trying to read all the Samsung TVs that is available, and everything I'm having in a database. So what this one does, so if you are seeing my screen, so there is a table which is a configuration table. Okay, so here I'm trying to say that, okay, you have to browse this URL, Flipkart. You need to search for this text. Okay, and then you need to browse and send me the list of TVs which is matching the criteria that we have. So first, what happens is we have a connector which is to connect our database. So here I have provided our connection string. So this is similar to whatever you do in your Java .NET code, where you provide a configuration. Uh, The difference is it is everything is drag and drop. You don't need to do any kind of coding. You just need to specify. You will have a wizard as well. It will guide you through each and every step. So once you make a connection, I'm just saying that okay, go and get the detail from the demo table, and then the first item, which is the web URL that I have to browse, I would be taking it from here, and then that web URL, yeah, that web URL, I'm just giving it to the. Sorry, can others go on mute? Okay, thank you. So once I have the URL, I'll be providing it to this particular activity. So under the browser activity, what I'm going to do is this is called a scope. So only within the scope, whatever the browser URL browser does, you will be able to have a control of. So what's happening right now is it'll take the text that you are trying to search, and it tries to identify in the browser, enters it automatically, and then I'm also trying to identify only top rated ones in there. So once I have that, next I'm going to get the information, that is scrapping. So scrapping is just copying the data from the web browser, and those details are finally saved into Excel. So I'll go through them. First, let's see how this performs the action. Okay, so it's opening here. So all these activities right now it's done by the robot. So I'm not doing any action. It's browsing through all the pages, and it's taking all the information within matter of minutes. So if a particular user sits and tries to identify and get all the details, it would have taken mostly like 30 minutes for me to copy all the 200 odd records. And if I need to change to a different one, so instead of Samsung TV I want to find out something else, it will take another 30 minutes. But if you had seen already, the process is completed. So let me show you how the Excel is. So yeah, this particular file, it's just created. So it got created at 8:20, and let me open that. Yeah. So it has given me all the TV and their price list. So if you see, there were like 200 and how many records? Yeah, almost 200 records are here. Let's see how many are here. Okay, I think the last 16 got truncated or something happened. So yeah, all these informations, it just tries to take and find it out in few minutes. Okay, so let me show how you can do it. So I'm going to start a new process. Okay. So I don't want to do these activities. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just show you how the scrapping is done. Okay, sorry. So here's where you have an option for data scrapping. Okay, so you just need to choose this. Okay, once you have, so let's go and go to the first page. Okay, so it'll guide you through. Okay, so it says that open the browser and then click on next. So after that, it'll ask you to choose a particular item that you wanted to scrap from here. Okay, so I'm going to say that from this entire list, so this automatically, the pointer automatically tells you based on the HTML tag. So I hope every one of you know what HTML is. So under here, based on the tags that is available, they have programmed it in such a way it will be easily identifying each and every element in the HTML, and then it will point to that particular section. So I'm saying that, okay, I need to take this particular element. So it says, okay, now let's choose a second element of same pattern. So what you are going to do is, first you have said that I want this value. It said that, okay, I have identified it, but it is trying to identify a pattern. Then you are saying that, okay, then take the next one. So now it has identified a pattern saying that, okay, all those values that you are seeing here are highlighted. So it has recognized automatically that these are the values that it has to pick. Okay, and there are few values it did not pick. Maybe the tag was not properly done. So if you see here, there is a best value. So that is a difference, right? So these are edge cases scenarios where these values, even though it is available, it is not fetching it properly, because these other values that you are seeing here doesn't have the best value, and it has tried to map it based on a value. For example, it would have been an ID. So in this section, the ID would have been 1. And for this section, where it has not identified it properly, it would have been for the best value as the ID 1. And that's why it was not able to capture. It is wrongly capturing as best value as the value. Okay. But yeah, those are edge cases. We would be capturing or identifying a different way of handling it in real time. I'm not going deep into that, but yeah, that's something that you have to note. Okay. Then I'm going to say that, okay, this is the name of the TV. Yeah, TV name. I'm giving a name to it. And then, so it said that, okay, these are the values that it is able to identify in that particular scrapped value. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit further. So I need more information from here. So I'm choosing, oh, sorry, not this. I'm choosing, there are some more correlated data that I would need. I just don't want the TV names. I want to know how much it is costing me as well. So I'm going to the extract more. So I'm saying that, okay, I need the price. So it says, okay, I have found the first one. I need to choose a pattern, know the pattern so that I can choose the rest of it. So I'm saying, okay, next. And then I'm choosing it. So now it has identified. So if you see here as well, it has easily captured everything. But in here, the ID is different. So it is not able to capture it properly. So wherever you have the best value before, so you cannot get that right now. Here it is trending. So wherever the values are different, right? Here you don't have trending, the normal ones. So yeah, now I'm saying that I need a price. Yeah. So I got the price value. Now, if you want to know, okay, I need further more information. So in real time, what we will do is we'll do analysis with it. For example, I need to identify from the back end in my database or in an Excel to try and identify whichever is higher resolution, a 4K TV or so. So what I would do is I would just choose it from here. Okay. I cannot choose only that particular value. So I'm choosing this entire content so that I get the required information with me. Okay. So I'm going to choose that, and then, yeah. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. So I have chosen it, and I will say description. Okay. So now you got it. So now your system or the RPA tool is capable enough to identify all the details that you need. And then I'm going to click finish. So there will be a catch here. So until now, what you have done is you have told information that I need it from this page, but it doesn't know whether it has uh, repeated in multiple pages or not. So you have a paging option. So here it is saying that, okay, I am able to identify the elements, but right now it is trying to identify if there is any navigation in this, so that it needs to get all the information, not just the first page information. So I'm just saying, yeah, I have a navigation in my screen. So I'm just saying, so instead of page numbers, you need to choose the next option. Okay, so the next option will tell the system that it has to click next. If you give only the step 2, um, it tries to capture that particular URL, and it will click only step 2 once, and it will say, okay, it has captured all the page informations, and it will think there's no other page. So that's why we need to choose properly the next option. Okay, so once you have it, so it has created the scrapping section on its own. So earlier, whatever I was demoing, it is this section. So now it has mentioned, okay, attach this particular scrapping to this particular browser, and then uh, take the values that's needed. Excuse me. So if you see, there is a section called properties. So the properties, you would be able to find out what are the, 1 minute, please. Yeah. So what are the outputs that it can generate? So it is generating a data table as an output, and that will contain all these information that it has tried to scrap from the screen. Okay, and this is the link that we have chosen. So it says that it will try to find in the web control. Let me see if I can enlarge this. Okay, so it says that this is a web control. Okay, and the action name, a name is the action name, and it has to choose next, and the tag where the action is available is in span tag in HTML. Okay, so that's what it is trying to specify, and you would be able to do it all on your own. You don't need even this scrapping tool. If you are so good enough, if you know how it works, you would be able to do it on your own from here. Okay, and the maximum number of results that you would need is right now 100. So if you do the scrapping right now, it will be choosing only 100. So if you want to set it to the max, so right now I have set it to 0 in my scenario. So the same way, if you set it to 0, it will try to get all the informations available on the screens. Okay, and yeah, so this one, this is the metadata. Metadata is the information that we try to provide it through the screen. So if you remember, we gave the name of that particular column as TV name, and then there was a price, and there was a description. So I was telling you earlier, right? So it tried to identify web control, and that trying to identify that it is div tag, and then in div tag, it has tried to use some indexes to identify what it is. Okay, and yeah, so this is for one particular item. What are the items that it has to choose? That's what it is trying to mention here. So this is about the scrapping process. So you also have an option to UI scrap. So UI scrapping, that has some limitations, or has some uh, like what happens is, whenever you are doing a legacy application where you don't have a API or a data way to connect your database directly, so we try to use this UI scraping. So it tries to map every element by the position of it. So if a small position changes, it tries to fail in some scenario. And in here, in the scrapping that we did, right? In this kind of scrapping, it doesn't matter where the particular control is. So it can be a smaller screen, bigger screen. I can place it here, place it there, anywhere. It'll still be able to identify. But when you scrap by screen, there are coordinates assigned to it. So it tries to say, okay, it is X and Y in this location. You will have a particular text box, and that's where you have to click and type the data. So all those informations would be down to that level. If something goes wrong, it will not be able to identify where it has gone wrong. So um, that kind of scrapping are mostly done when you have legacy application, or when you have a Citrix, or like a remote desktop. So you need to log into a remote machine. Okay, so in those cases, the tools that we have will not have an option to do all. What do you say? It will not have complete control, so it has to do by button clicks. So what happens is the mouse action, right? Each and every mouse action, it will try to capture, and it will say that, okay, this is where I need to click the button, and then once I click it, I will have a window. So it tries to say, okay, in this position, you just need to click. It will not know that it is the 3D viewer that it is trying to click. It will know only by coordinates. Rather, when you are doing such things, even if you change your screen resolution, those things can break. And there are a few web applications where if they change from div to a different tag, like a span tag or any other tags, so this particular tool, automation process would break. So whenever that is a disadvantage, I would say, whenever there is any change to the UI, there is a high chance that if you are changing the tags that we use, would have an impact. So I was showing here, right? The tag changed in few of the scenarios. Yeah, so in scenarios where it was trending, it wasn't able to capture the details, right? So same way, when the tag changes, every capturing that you are doing will have to be redone. So that is an issue. So in those cases, what we do is we come here. One second. Yeah. So here there will be an option to say edit selector, and you would be able to choose from here. You can change it, okay, or you can go there and say, let me show you. So I can say indicate element, and what is the element that I am going to choose now. Okay, so now I changed it. So it has changed right now. The tag has changed. What it has to read has changed. Okay, and if you see, the earlier captured value was having a different name, and this is having a different name. So uh, it tries to help you, and you can validate as well whether the values that you are choosing is right or wrong. Okay, so this is the high level idea about this UI path tool. Okay, so I don't want to go much in detail about it. So you would be able to uh, do further exploration. As I said, the community version is available for free. You can download on your own and you can do it. So next, I want to do how you can perform AI interaction with the RPA tools. So AI these days are available in abundant, and it's available very freely. And those AI options which we are talking about right now, which is like can be integrated into your application in minutes, uh, usually take months or years for you to work on. So earlier, if you remember, when I started the discussion, I was talking about an AI option where it can read the receipt that you have. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to automate a process where I'll be uploading some files to my OneDrive, and that OneDrive, what it'll do, it'll trigger a process. The process is available in Power Automate. So Power Automate flow. Okay. So in that flow, yeah. So in that flow, what I'm going to do is it will read all the documents or the receipts, and then it'll upload it into my SQL. Okay, so this is the table that I would be having the results finally in. Um, so I'm not sure whether it is big enough for you to see, um, or else let me. I'll put it in an Excel later on and I'll show you. So right now you can see there's only one receipt available. Okay. So let me go to my OneDrive and I'll upload some receipts. So I have downloaded some samples, okay, for us to test. So the receipts look something like this. So it has different kind of receipts. So from a coffee shop, if you have paid some money, so this is a receipt that you'll get, and from Costco. So all those places, what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out who is the merchant, what is their address, their phone number, and what is the total amount that you paid, and then I'm going to put it in an Excel file. Okay, so that's the plan. Let me share my screen. So in here, as I was talking about before, you have different connectors. So this is, let me show you how you see it. So let me create better. So this is going to be an automated flow and it will get triggered when a file arrives. So OneDrive. So when I have a file in OneDrive, when a file is created, that's when I have to trigger. And let me give read receipts. Okay, so that's a flow name. Okay, so it as I have already configured my connectors. Okay, it did not ask me for uh, which OneDrive to connect. Else, it'll be automatically see. Yeah, this is the connector option. So it has connected to my Microsoft account by default. So you can create new connection on your own. So you can choose from the accounts that you have, Microsoft accounts you have, and then you can say which folder to connect. So I'm just going to upload my files to the root folder. So I'm just saying root and include. Oh, okay, what are that? Let me sign in. Okay, yep. So include subfolders. I don't worry about the files in my subfolders. So I'm just giving no. And okay, so next step. So this is the AI connector that I was talking about. Okay, so in AI connector, you would be able to do many AI, like you will be able to integrate many AI features. So you would be able to find out from the text that you are sharing whether it is a positive sentiment or negative sentiment. You can detect the language that the text that you have supplied, and you can detect an image, what kind of image it is. So if it is an image of a famous person, it'll try to find out what is the image all about, or a person who is available. So if you have Modi ji there, so it'll try to identify, okay, it is a Modi ji, or for famous personality. It will not be me or you guys. So it'll be some famous personalities or a place. For example, if it is a beach, it'll tell you that this image is taken in a beach. Or if someone is playing there, it will be able to tell you it's a slide where people are playing and it's a party or some kind of celebration. So all those things, this AI will let you know based on the image that you upload. So the same way, what we are going to do is process. There will be a process called okay. So process extract information from receipts. Okay. So in here, I'm going to share. So when I click it, it automatically tells that what are the values that is available in this OneDrive. So it has a file name, it has a file path, it has a file content. So I just need to send the file content to it. Okay. So once you send the content, then it will respond to you with various information like what is a merchant, what are the text that is available. So it can read each and every section which is available, and this you can put it into an Excel file. Right now, what we are going to do is we are going to put it into an SQL. So in SQL, I'm going to insert a row. So as I said, every connector you would be able to choose the connection option from here. So okay, there is another thing here in SQL. Okay, there is an option. Okay, it's not showing here for me, but okay. SQL authentication. Let me choose cancel. Okay, so there is something called an interface. So we install a software that makes your system enable to connect with this particular platform. So we call it as a gateway. So that gateway, if it is not available, the database that is available in your local would not be available for reading or viewing here. Okay. So I did have that set up already. That's why I'm able to see all the servers that is available in my machine, and it will tell me the database. So this is a demo DB I'm going to do or use, and then I'm going to insert the value into the receipt. Okay. So once I chose the table, it is, excuse me, it is prompting me all the uh, fields which is available there. So it says that there is a store name property available. So for that, I just need to choose. Um, See, I did not tell what it has to show, but it is giving me that these are the options which is available based on the response from that particular service. So I just need to choose merchant name. Okay. Then I would have a phone name of that merchant. Then the address. Okay. Same way, you would be able to do it for all the fields that you have: date, time, total, if there is a tax component, if there is a tip, all those things you would be able to do. So after you do that, so I'm not going to save this because I already have one. So multiple processes would get triggered. So I'm not saving it, but that's what I have done here. Okay, the same steps that you saw there. So that's what you have here as well. No difference. So I have stored everything. Right now, let me try uploading. So portal, and let me go to my OneDrive. So this is my OneDrive. So earlier I uploaded a HTML file and this one. So my HTML file would have failed because that's not an image. So image is what it is trying to read. So now let me upload few other files. Okay. So these are the files. So yeah, we have already done that. So once you upload, you would be able to see. Okay, let's go here. So let's see here. Yeah. So all those activities has started initiating. So each run that is happening right now in the backend, you would be able to see what are the activities that has passed right now and what are failed. Okay. So if you see here, it tells you that this is the file that it has taken from my OneDrive. Okay. So the OneDrive had this image, and then that is passed to that particular AI connector. Okay. And it had made that particular method call, and these are the values that it has read. Okay. Okay. So these are the values that few of them we have not used it. So let me tell you in real time what we would do. So after reading it, there are possibilities that the values would be smaller. People will not be able to see it because the camera that was used was not right configured. So here it will also tell you the confidence, how confident the system is. So it is between the scale of 0 to 1. um, Anything more than 70, in my experience, I have seen that it is good. It is still usable, which means that it is almost to the perfection. So 9.95 is perfect enough. You don't need to worry for anything which is more than like 80%. 70%, few chances that maybe instead of O, it will be a E or something because of the resolution of it. So all those informations it will tell you. It is saying that it is confident. The system is confident that this is the value that the merchant name in the receipt is, and this is the phone number, this is the address, and this is the time. All those things with exact confidence level it will tell you. So that way you can tell to the end user, okay, this is the value that I was able to read it automatically, and is there any user intervention needed or not. So if there is lesser confidence of say 60%, then I will trigger an email saying that, hey, this is receipt which I received is not right. You may need to review it, and then we can mark it in our database as well. So um, this is the value that we have received, and once we have received, we saved it into the database, right? So it says that, okay, this is the database input that I have passed to the database. So the connection is this. This is the database. This is the table, and this is a store like store name, the phone number, the address, and the values that I have received from the receipt. Okay, so let's go to the database and see. So we uploaded 3 text. So let me take it to a Excel file so that I can enlarge and show it to you. I hope you are seeing it right now. So let's take one of the receipt and let's see. Did we have a Costco? Yeah. So we have a Costco wholesale receipt. So this is the Costco receipt, and the address is 1000, and so that's the address that we have. Okay, and the phone number ends with 1841. Yep, that's right. And the date is 2/8/2019. Let's see where's the date. Okay, here is the date, 2/8/2019. And the amount and the tax 233.82, and the tax is here 5.8. So everything it's capturing right. And if you see, the interesting part is each receipt is not the same. So you have so in the header it's obvious that you will have that name of the store and every information, but you don't know where the date is, right? So it can vary based upon the receipt. So let me show you the other receipts that we have. So yeah, see, this receipt is so tiny and it's not clear, but let's see how it has captured here. So this is Boost Mobile. So maybe, yeah, it would have taken from the top, but let's see the address and other information. Just 1 second. Okay. See, 16127 Lakeshore Boulevard, Cleveland, Ohio. So it has read even though the clarity is not clear. And the date in here is at the top. Okay. In our earlier receipt, it was way at the bottom. It was able to read it. And this is the value, total amount 16.1. So that's what we have here. And the tax, sale tax is 1.10. So that's exactly the amount. So if you see how advanced these days these robots are, it doesn't need any user intervention. It can read image which is so small, and it can tell you and store it into a database with a confidence level with it. So it's so like shocking to see that how our robots these days are capable enough to. Okay, so with that being said, yeah, I think we are almost more like we have spent more time on demos, right? So let me move on to the slide again. Okay, yeah. So we saw about these things. So the demo, and now there are few misinterpretation or misconception that these features were available in test automation suites, which were long there before itself. I would say 50% of it was available. You were able to do this screen scraping, but most of the things which was available before was OCR based, or you would not have the capabilities that I was showing you right now. If you change the position of it, if you increase the width, all those things, right now the latest robots that we are talking about is capable enough of handling it. But the older ones, the automation suits, they are having limitations, and you need to know extensive programming in order for you to do the automation with the older tools. And then okay, so the usage of test automation suite is clearly for automating repeated test cases, where rather here it is an end-to-end process which a business user or an end user performs every day in and day out. Okay, and the coding knowledge with respect to RPA, I would say minimal coding knowledge is required. You don't need to do extensive coding, but at least you need to know the concepts. So you need to know, okay, I need to call this particular connector and then pass the required values, and how to do the connection with the backend, all those informations. And even when you go in the enterprise solution, you would need to interact with an API, how the API interacts. Sometimes, in our cases, we are in an insurance industry where you need a lot of security. If any health related information goes out, you'll be sued to a greater extent. So there are a lot of limitations where you would need a lot of securities in place. All those things right now the RPA tools are offering, which you don't have it in the test automation suite. And the AI feature, of course, it's not there in the old test automation suite at all. And yeah, so the benefits, if you see the cost that is incurred for having a resource. So for example, a support person is required to just onboard a resource every day in and day out. A company like Cognizant or Infosys, if you think, every day they onboard few hundreds or even thousands in some cases. So they don't need to do the repetitive task of onboarding activity, which is happening right now, like automatically sending out email, creating his profile in the database, creating a user ID. All those things you can automate, where earlier you may have like 10 to 15 people working on that process. Now you can automate those processes, and you can do it within hours. So this can work 24/7. You don't need to worry about when this particular person would be tired. So it's all the computers, right? So the benefits are way high, but at the same time, the 20% can very well be replaced by these robots. That is some disadvantage, I would say. But we have to live with it, because when the computer came in, that time people said that, yeah, so everyone will lose job. But it changed the dynamics later, that when the computer came in, it speeded up our evolution in the technology front. So from the day when we started computer till now, like right now your personal device is more capable enough than the earlier supercomputers that they were talking about. So it's that advanced. It's because of technology and tools that we have right now. So we would hope that these RPA kind of tools, even though they are going, or we are envisioning that it can take some human capabilities out, or the human jobs out, But I think things have to evolve, and automatically things would change. We would have better knowledge on different fields, and I think this would be um, a betterment for our lifestyle as well. So, with that being said, I think I'm done with the slide and presentation. So, back to you. So, do we have any questions or any feedback?
Thank you, sir. Participants, kindly note if there is any questions or queries, you can put in the chat box. It will be asked to Mr. Shanmugan sir. He'll answer to you all.
Hope I can answer that.
Yes, sir.
Kavya, just to see whether YouTube also any questions.
Yes, sir,
Kavya
I'm
or
checking on that as well. Participants, if any questions, please put it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask.
So there are two reasons why you would not have questions. Either they were not listening or they know everything. So I hope they understood most of what I was talking about. So yeah.
we always positive. So I think all of them have understood, I suppose. That is what why we have to think about the negative. We take the things in a
In
positive
a
direction
positive.
always.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's good, sir.
yeah,
So there's a question in the chat box.
but the response was also good because in the Google platform around 100 and even in YouTube 168 were there.
Oh,
Even now also totally 240 are 40 participants are there still. So
oh,
that means they have heard you and they have understood. This is what the justification I can give you in this point of time. Since it is not my cup of tea, I cannot make any other things except some humanitarian or humanities wise. I can take the questions which I posted in the my briefing in the beginning.
right, sir.
So these all
I
things
hope
will
you.
take.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah, tell
you
me.
got the answer as well, sir. Right, that this can eventually replace a person, but at the positive side, if you see, you will have a good evolution of a lot of other fields. Like earlier, when computer came in, we thought that okay, it'll replace all the human resource, but later on, it helped in all the fields like science,
Yes, yes.
math, or any field that you see. The evolution has been extraordinary. So I think this
Yes.
RPA also will support such kind of evolution in future.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Even if we take these RK process in medical field and other things, accuracy will be there.
Yes,
So
yes,
accuracy will be there. If at all some operations and other things to be done, a minute now can be operated and other things. Such things also there. We cannot totally deny,
Right.
but
Yeah.
isn't it? But
Yeah.
you don't
So
take otherwise. My number is even I open my YouTube, this one also in my mobile. 136 members are there. Here, 100 full members are there in the Google platform.
no, sir.
So
I was just
everyone
making a
heard
comment.
you properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
sir. There's a question, sir. Uh,
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Ramya
Kavya.
SK, Computer Science Department lecturer, has asked a question. Sir, kindly give some guidance regarding career aspects in computer science in India and abroad.
It is
That's
not
the
So
limited
question.
to that. Anyhow,
okay. So yeah. Right now, what I'm seeing, which can be a challenging job in the future for computer science, would be machine learning, then this automation, robotic process automation, and I would say AI. So these three together are going to be the next set of evolution. So right now, whatever you are seeing, the technology evolution, everything can be replaced by these three set of work. So you can integrate AI capability into your RPA, and you can build machine learning for that machine to capable enough to learn on its own, and it can do what a person can do, or even it can better what a person can do. So, for example, there are a lot of analytical data, like data is available huge right now these days in social media or anywhere you go. The data is like gold at this point. If you are able to identify a problem with like in social media, you can find out various problems based on a location. So all those things you would be able to do your mathematical computation with the machine learning algorithms these days. And earlier you need to know very good math, but these days it is just a drag and drop. As I showed you the RPA tool for this particular machine learning as well, or the AI feature as well, you just need to drag and drop. You need to know what algorithms to use. If you basically know, okay, this is the algorithm that would be surfacing the need, you can just drag and drop, and you can say, okay, this is the source of data that I have, just use this, go ahead. So earlier we saw the data scrapping, right? So what you can do, you can do like scrap of data which is available in the web, wherever this website you want, put it into an Excel or into a database, and then use these algorithms and feed those data that you captured from the internet, and you can process it to make a decision on its own. So it will tell you the positive or negative sentiments, or if at all, if you want to find a problem in an area, you can just narrow it based on the region, and you can do many wonders with that. So I would say machine learning, AI, and the RPA would be the future. So the languages are changing so drastically these days. Earlier it used to change every 10 years. Now in a matter of a year, there are many variations. So a lot of tools and technologies, I would say, concentrate on those three. Know the concepts, then go for it. Yeah.
yeah, even I too watch that, because those companies doing machine learning, artificial engineering, and roboto things are making IT companies. They are making a very good balance sheet as such. So that is what even the reviews about that such companies also been given like that. And 5G also, rolling out 5G will add to the this computer revolution as such. One Mr. Srisha GH has given his opinion. It was a very useful session. When I was searching through apps, I was thinking about what is the technique bar process behind it, because it was giving a accurate data bar information. Today I got to know. Thank you, sir. So that is what the message he has given. One more question, Kavya, read out.
There's one more question, sir. What are the opportunities for students in Canada after completion of bachelor's? Any job web portals that lead a path to enter into jobs in abroad, US and Canada.
So I can talk with respect to Canada more. I don't have much idea about the US. US, there are a lot of limitations these days because of the previous era that you guys know. There are a lot of restrictions with the amount of experience that you need to know for H1B or L1. So there are a lot of restrictions. But with respect to Canada, they are very open. You have a lot of opportunities which is growing right now, mainly on cryptocurrency. I have seen a lot of opportunities, and on RPA here. With respect to machine learning as well, with respect to AI, it is US who is concentrating on more, but in Canada mostly I have seen machine learning and crypto and the RPA kind of jobs more. If you need to land for a job here, you need either a work permit, which a company has to sponsor. But right now, as being a student, there are two options. One, getting PR, but getting PR is not that easy as we think. We need to have experience, at least 1 to 2 years of experience to start with. Else, the other option is you can come here as a student, like you can have a postgraduate diplomas courses here. You can choose good colleges, and then after you come here, you would be given 1 more year if you are doing a PG diploma for work. After you complete 1 year as studies, you will be having 1 year to do your job search. If you are able to find a job, then you can go and apply for your PR. Or you need to work in India, have an experience, then apply for PR. So those are the two options that you have right now.
Thank you on that, sir. We have one more person, Charan CS. This session was very useful for me. I could make use of it. But based on robotics, what job role would you prefer, sir?
Uh, See, robotics, my preference would be machine learning would be the challenging job which a robot cannot replace. So if a machine knows, okay, it has already got the list of steps. For example, RPA steps, right? You just need to drag and drop. Later, there will be a scenario where you can speak and the computer can do it. Okay, that will be the eventual thing. And people like Elon Musk, they are trying to implant chip on your brain, and then what you think comes there. But you cannot do a machine learning algorithm using that chip. Okay, no one can think that. You need to feed it. You need to put the algorithm which is apt for it, and then find a solution. So that's where I would go to. But yeah, it's always changing. You'll have better idea maybe in a year or two. So yeah, that's where it is.
Thank you, sir. I hope Charan received his answer to his question. There is Purvaja asking about what is the meaning of Scrum.
Scrum is a methodology. Agile is a framework. Okay, so Agile tells you what are the various phases that you need to execute. Like waterfall, it will just tell you that okay, this is the set of steps that you have to do. So Scrum tells you how you have to achieve it. Okay, so Agile can tell you, okay, you need to discuss with the business user very often. You need to do like regular interactions or show the demo and things like that, but it doesn't say how. But Scrum, on the other hand, it will tell you how you need to do things in agile way. So that's Scrum.
Thank you on that as well, sir. There is Shivamoga Smitha, if I'm not wrong. Thank you for the great session. Can you please briefly explain the difference between RPA developer and data scientist? It looks like similar role.
No.
That's
So as I was telling earlier, so RPA developer, he just knows various connectors. He has background knowledge of how the database works, how the API works, and things like that. A data scientist is one who knows how the data or how to interpret the data. For example, in um, like if you are given an Excel, a RPA developer doesn't know what data is there. He will just know, okay, copy this data from here to put it into a database or do some activity. So he just sends it to someone for some analysis. He doesn't care about what kind of data there it is. Okay, and the data scientist, on the other hand, he knows what the data talks about. He can put various graph and he can put it in a very understandable way. For example, in social media, you can have various comment about the government or a particular organization. A developer will not know how to interpret, but a data scientist will say, hey, these are the positive comments, these are the negative comments. Okay, they have these benefits with this government or these drawbacks with this government. How to interpret the data and then get a result out of it, that is what the data scientist will do, but the RPA developer will not know that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I hope Smita has got her answer. We have K. Sukruta ma'am. She's asking, BCA or BSc students, can they do mini project on RPA? Please suggest.
Yeah, so that is a good one, but RPA, if you see, a very big project can be achieved in few days or weeks. Okay, so it may be challenging for them to learn something and implement it, but end of day when he is showing it to the like for approval, right, you need to go to your department head. The bigger project that you would be doing earlier in months, now you can do in few lines, and that can be questioned like, hey, was this the one that you did in last few months? So that would be a concern, but yeah, there are a lot of learning that can happen. It's good, but if you could merge the RPA with machine learning, that algorithms that I was talking about, then that is a good option for a project, I would say.
Thanks on that, sir. We have one more person. Muskan A. Is RPA a dead end career?
No, it is not a dead end career. I said the very end would be when they implant a chip or they know how to understand your brain. But right now, until various softwares are there, there will be some kind of things evolving. So, for example, this pandemic, right? If you see, I am from a town called Sivakashi. So that is not a city like Mysore or anything, where people there are trying to adapt to the change. They are ordering their groceries in their mobile. They are doing every day, even the restaurant ordering, everything they have started to use mobile. So there are a lot of opportunities right now. And in India, I would say just 15 to 20% have been tapped at this point. So you have a very big scope. It's not that this is the end. Not everyone will adapt to RPA. RPA is costly, to be precise. So you need to spend thousands of dollars. I don't think every store in India or even in Canada, I don't think everyone will go to RPA. Only big organizations where they do repeated work, where they want to avoid human force just doing the mundane activity. That's where this RPA will come in. Rest of the place, still you have a lot of other opportunities to go through.
Every thesis will have antithesis, and antithesis will give synthesis.
Right,
It
sir.
will spiral way. It will go on. We may be thinking going down is it is the end of it, but it will start rising once again, and it will take a spiral round once again, and take that synthesis will become thesis again, and like that. Computer science is like that, isn't it?
True, sir. True, true.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
Kavya.
And simultaneously on YouTube telecast, people are asking some questions. There's one question by Nandita SN. She is asking, which country is using more robotics technology?
So right now, India is growing. We cannot say that India is not using RPA, but right now the end users who are using RPA would be the North America, I would say. In India, maybe we, as a service industry, we are supporting others, so we are using it, but the end users are still from North America. It's mostly service industries from India are doing all these technology revolutions and things like that that you already know. Yeah, so it's mostly the end users are in here.
Thank you, sir. I hope Nandita received her answer. There's Rashmi asking for some tips for interview for job in AI.
Job in AI. I don't think I would be able to give tips about jobs in AI, but hmm, yeah. So I'm not very clear about the question. That's first thing, but yeah, I'm not able to answer it at this
I'll
point.
repeat the question, sir.
Sure. Yeah.
Tips for interview for job in AI. She's basically asking for some of the
Oh,
interview
okay.
tips.
No, I would say first explore on various tools that is available right now. So you would be challenged, like if you need to go and use ML, you need to be strong with the concepts in mathematics. So statistics is something which is very useful or very needed for machine learning. And if you are good with that, then you can start learning Python. Python is a very good language for those kind of machine learning. So it's so vast that just few lines of code will give you the answer. So for example, a facial recognition, they already have a package. You just need to drag that package, and the package can recognize, okay, there's a person standing and he's wearing a mask or not. So with just few lines of code, earlier you cannot imagine those things actually. So yeah, I would say if you are good with math and stats, you can go with that. Else, if you feel that no, I'm good with logical thinking, then RPA is a very good option for you.
Thank you, sir. I hope Rashmi got her answer. There is Dinesh Kumar who's asking, is there any online course to learn RPA?
Yes, there are a lot of online courses, so you don't need to go with Udemy or EduReka or any particular person. If you are able to spend, yeah, I think that is a good thing. But these days in YouTube, you can find a lot of videos every day. There are like hundreds of people posting videos onto it. So even I started, but I dropped it. But yeah, this forum actually is going to help me. It has given me confidence. So yeah, YouTube is a better channel for you to start with. So once you have YouTube and these community editions downloaded, you can try on your own. Then that would be the starting point for you.
Thank you, sir. Hope Dinesh has received his answer. We have Nikita Ramchandran who's asking, what is the best RPA tool?
RPA tools you need to evaluate based on your need. Okay, so there are price which defines what RPA you can go for. So you can say all the big wonders you want to do, but if you don't have a budget, yeah, you cannot go and use that. So based on your budget, that defines. So Blue Prism, UiPath, then the Power Automate, Automation Anywhere. So there are many tools. The best tool that, in my perspective, I have found Power Automate to be very good. Reason behind I showed the receipt reading, right? You just need to drag and drop just 3 lines of code. It'll do. It's a bit pricey, but for organizations, they are pretty cheap still. They charge like based on users, number of users, or number of process that you have. So that is a very good. But UiPath, if you want to learn, that is a very good option to learn. and the same concepts is available everywhere. So you don't need to think, okay, if I learn UiPath I will not be able to work on the other one. No, the concept wise everything is same. Start with UiPath, that would be my suggestion. But if you can spend few hundreds of rupees or thousands of rupees, maybe you can try Power Automate. But they are not giving it for free, or it's not available for communities as well. Yeah.
Thanks on that, sir. We have Jayashree asking, sir, does RPA acts as a virtual business user?
Yes, exactly. It is a virtual business user. So right now, that is what it's going to do.
Thanks on that, sir. I hope Jayashree got her answer. We have one more person from YouTube live streaming, Nalini Kumari. How the robotics? How is the robotics helpful in finding and detecting the crime?
Robotics will not, RPA will not help, but machine learning will help. So machine learning with that, that's what I said. In credit cards, okay, so that's an example. In credit card, what happens, based on your location, they would be able to tell you, okay, whether this particular transaction is valid or not. So these days there are apps. For example, Bank of America had an app where they would be tracking your location, and they know it's you who has to use the card. If you are in Canada, you cannot use a card in India, or if you are in India, you cannot use a card in USA. So based on that learning, they have a model defined. So that what it will do is, if you have used a card yesterday, so there are possibility that I can travel to USA, right? Yesterday I was in Canada, today but rather if your phone is turned on and if it is in Canada, you cannot be in USA. So that kind of interactions they are doing, and they are able to detect that whether that transaction is valid or not, whether they should stop it, and so that's something that they have started to, but it's not part of RPA, it is part of machine learning. Yeah.
Thanks on that, sir. I hope Nalini received her answer. We have Anand Kumar asking, what is the role of RPA in medical field?
So medical field, I don't think robotic process automation can do medical related actions. Maybe, okay, there is a role, if you know, medical transcript. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure whether they are already using it or not, but that is a scope. What you can do, the medical transcript, you can read, or you can interpret what the doctors say. So the doctors right now, they have their own way of documenting stuff. So usually they have an audio recording, and then a backend user tries to translate them and then document them. These things can be documented. And then there is another area where in pharmacy, what you can do is you will get a medical doctor note, right? Prescriptions. So those prescriptions you can try to read who it is coming from, who it is to, and when was this, and what kind of, maybe doctor's handwriting will not be read for sure, but there is always a possibility that if it is a printed one, these days it is printed, right? The prescriptions are, so those things you can interpret automatically and then feed it into the system, and you can also automate the dispensing as well. But yeah, that's a long way to go, but yeah, these are the scope that we have in medical fields.
Thanks on that, sir. I hope Anand has received his answer. We have Darshan. If every company starts acquiring RPA, then what about the workforce who are relying on the company for the wages? Everyone can't able to cope up with RPA, right?
Exactly. Everyone cannot cope up with the RPA subscriptions as well. So it's, even though you say that, okay, RPA can replace you, as I said, only bigger organizations where you have thousands of employees, only there they can spend that much of amount. If there's an organization where they are recruiting only few people, like 5 people or 2 people every month, why do they want to go to RPA, which is costly? Why they have to spend thousands of rupees or dollars, right? So it's all that whatever we are talking about is maybe 10 to 20% is what RPA people will adapt to, and bigger organizations. It's not the smaller ones for sure. I do agree, but eventually, what they are talking about is a minimal wage. So, in countries like Canada, they are talking about minimal wage. Even though if you don't have a job, they have to survive, right? So, how can everyone survive without money? And okay, for example, I'll give you in Walmart, if they automate everything, think of it. There is a store where even they use robots to load the shelf. They don't have manual labors at all. Uh, do you think that model will work if that employees are just let go? No. So every employee in the store needs to earn money for them to go and buy a different product. It's a cycle. So it cannot be just that one day everyone will be thrown out and you would not have the money. So eventually Walmart will have to come down. They don't have any people coming in and buying stuff, right? So where will they get the money? So it's not that way. There will be some solution, but right now there was a discussion earlier, I think in Canada, that they were talking about minimal wage for or minimal amount that they would be giving to people who even are not having any work. So that could be a possibility, but that will be an intermediate step. But there will be different openings that would come up. So earlier, when computers came in, no one thought that almost like 40% of people in India will go to computer science, right? So right now, it's a huge population of people coming out from engineering going to computers field, right? So we didn't think that. We thought that everyone will lose job, but rather we got more jobs. So that would be the eventual thing. Yeah.
Thanks on that, sir. I hope Darshan has received his answer. Um, I guess the questions, we are done with the questions. Thank you, sir. Your knowledge shared definitely enriched all of us, and we remain grateful for that as well. On behalf of management, staff, students in the audience, I thank you for sparing your generous amount of time in educating us on the topic. Thank you so much for the beautiful session, sir.
And thanks to the principal and the HOD madam and the Professor Ramya. So I'm really honored by this session. So I have not thought that I would be giving a session to wider audience like this. Thanks to pandemic as well, which has enabled this, and I'm grateful for it. And yeah, so nice of you guys having me here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And all the participants are also thankful for the session, sir. They say it was a very informative and very helpful session for all of them.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Um, Moving on, participants kindly note the feedback form will be shared in the chat box. Please fill the forms and avail yourself with the certificates. And also note the certificates will be issued in 4 to 5 working days. Moving
YouTube
on, sir.
link sent to YouTube also, na?
Yes, sir, definitely. We'll put the link in the YouTube
Fine.
chat box as well.
Fine.
Before we draw curtains to the session, I request Ms. Purvaja Aris to give the voice of thanks. Purvaja.
Thank you, Kavya. Om Shri Manjunathaya Namaha. The secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. Good evening, one and all. We have come to the end of the session. I take this opportunity to put my gratitude in words. To start with, I thank our beloved principal, Professor Sainath Maligemadu sir, for his constant support and guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Purvaja.
I would like to thank today's resource person, Mr. Shanmuganathan Yes, Scrum Master, All State Canada Group, Toronto, Canada, for giving us a bundle of information and helping us to acquire knowledge on robotic process automation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank our IQAC coordinator, Srimati Jia Sumitra, Head Department of Electronics, for her support and advice. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
To continue with, I thank Srimati K.S. Sukrita, Head Department of Computer Science, convener of today's webinar, and Srimati Ramya S.K., Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, co-convener of today's webinar, for organizing this wonderful session. Thank you both.
Thank you.
I thank all our organizing committee members for being a helping hand in organizing this session. Lastly, I thank all the academicians, software professionals, research scholars, and students who actively participated in today's international webinar and making it a grand success. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Purvaja.
Thank you, Kavya.
So we are ending the
Thank you,
session.
Shanmugaratnam, once again. It was a
Thank you, sir.
very wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
And,
Thank
We are ending the session. Before that, I request all the participants to enable your video so that we can have a virtual photo.
over, Kavya.
Yes, ma'am, we are done. Thank you, participants. Before ending, I hope everybody has received the link of the feedback form. Please do fill it. Repeating again, kindly note, participants, the certificates will be issued within 4 to 5 working days. Remember, my friend, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. This is Kavya Aris signing off. Thank you, one and all. Happy weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shanmugathan. Thank you, Shanmugathan, sir. He left.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸುಕೃತ, ರಮ್ಯಾ.
Thank you, ma'am.
ಇನ್ನು ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಹೌದು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಹೌದು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. Thank you, Purvaja and Kavya.
Done by the Department of Computer Science.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, Sukrita ma'am, I request you to kindly put the link in the YouTube live streaming as well. We are still streaming.
It's already put. Twice we have put.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, but there are people asking for feedback form.
I'll send it.
Yes, ma'am.
ಅದು ಹೊರಟೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಕಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಾಕಿ.
We are still streaming live, ma'am.
ಬಂತಾ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದು?
Ma'am, ಇನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್
ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಹೋಗಿದ್ಯಾ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಕಾವ್ಯ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್.
Thank you, ma'am.
ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಕಾವ್ಯ?
Illa, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could request Akshay sir to just show the link so that they can take a screenshot of the same, or maybe uh, write it down, something like that.
No, I'll send it to WhatsApp groups.
Yes, ma'am.
No, for YouTube participants.
ಸುಕೃತ ನೀವು ಬೇರೆ ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಾ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್? ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ.
ಇದು ಹಾಕಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ?
ಹೌದು, ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು.
ಜನರೇಟ್ರ್ ಇದು ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೋ. ಎಸ್ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರಿಲ್ವಾ? ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ವಾ? ಸುಮಾರು ಸಲ ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್.
ಕಾವ್ಯ, ಅದು ಗೂಗಲ್ ಮೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತ ನೋಡಿ.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು.
ಯಾರಿಗೂ ವಿಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು. ಈವನ್ ನಾವು ಸುಮಾರು ಸಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ ಕಳ್ಸಿ. ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಕಿ ಮೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹಾಕಿ. ನಾವು ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ವ ಅದು ಲಿಂಕ್.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಗ್ರೂಪಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀರಾ? ಸುಕೃತ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಹಾಕಿ ಹೊಸಲಕ್ಷಿ. ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Yes, Kavya, can you see the link now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Ma'am, we can see, but yes, ma'am, yes, they can access the link as well.
Yeah. ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು.
Yes, ma'am.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಸರ್. ಇಷ್ಟ ತನಕ ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ. ಸುಮಿತ್ರಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಬಂದಿದೆ
ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಮೊಬೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಅದು ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ, ಹೋಯ್ತು.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ತುಂಬಾ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
ಕಾವ್ಯ
Ma'am,
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್. ಪೂರ್ವಜ,
welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
ಏನು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಏನಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದು.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
ಏನ್ ಸರ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಸರ್?
Jyoti ma'am, you said something I did not hear.
ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಸರ್? ಇನ್ನುವೇ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಂತು ಅಂತ ಕಾವ್ಯ.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಇದ್ದು?
Ma'am, live stream ಇನ್ನೂ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್, ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್?
Ma'am, we are still streaming live. If you could ask Akshay to stop the streaming.
ಕಾಫಿ ತಿಂಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ತರಿಸ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್
Ma'am, we are still streaming live, ma'am. I request you to ask Akshay sir to stop the streaming.
He's doing that.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಯ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ರಮ್ಯಾ. ಕಾವ್ಯ and Purvaj also. It came out well. ಕಾವ್ಯ.
ನಯನ, ಜ್ಯೋತಿ, ರಜಿತಾ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿದಾರಾ?
ಹ್ಞೂ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಓಕೆ. ಇನ್ಯಾರು? ಭಾರ್ಗವಿ.
ಭಾರ್ಗವಿ ಅವರು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ನೀವು ನಯನ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಂದೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದೆ.
ಜ್ಯೋತಿ?
ನಾನು ರಮ್ಯ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ನಾವು
ಜ್ಯೋತಿ
4 o'clock ಬಂದ್ವಿ.
ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರಾ?